But yeah, I decided to create something that the students could use in the future.
And I always said I wanted to be on Shark Tank, so I can actually say I've been on Shark Tank.
Yes. What did you call yourself, Mr. Wonderful?
Mr.
You were
Wonderful. No, I said I'm going to be the Mr. Wonderful of the
Yes,
group
of
because
course.
Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank is a greedy, money-hungry guy.
Ah.
Yes, and I believe, was it you or Forrest that called me greedy? Yeah, because
Forrest.
I wanted to invest and get my 10% back.
Right.
Because, yeah, I gotta go, take care of my yacht and stuff.
Yeah.
My pretend yacht.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get at least 10%, then you're gonna have to wash your own yacht.
Right.
Who does that? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Who washes
Thank
their own
you,
yacht?
Alex,
I'm
still
not
because,
washing
doing
my
it.
own
that
yacht.
is not how it is. Okay, so Josh, from a student's perspective, were you scared at the very beginning, or were you worried? And how did you, we won't say the product, because, he's gonna make millions off of
Okay.
this product.
Are y'all really going to try to do something with it?
We are. We're actually in the process right now, kind of.
See, they even
speaking
have
to
working
people.
apps and websites and everything for this
Instagram
presentation.
page,
Really?
Facebook
Yes,
page.
yes.
Oh, so y'all had it together then?
Yeah,
Yes,
we were
they had
pretty
it
much.
together.
See, you're lucky I wasn't in your group, because I'd be that guy that's trying to develop something like 10 minutes before presentation. Hold on, I got this. I need a
sticky
Sharpie
note.
and some duct tape. We got this, you know?
Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, tell us a little bit about it. The experience, it's kind of nerve-wracking. It's got to be a little nerve-wracking from you, of course,
Right.
because you're presenting this product that you've made to a board of people that could potentially make or break your invention.
Correct.
And tell us a little bit about that experience. I mean, how did you feel about it going into it?
Going into it, we actually were trained a couple of weeks before into it. We had where we'd go and record ourselves and see what we look like, and so we kind of had that down. But I think the most nerve-wracking part was actually seeing the sharks in there
Right.
and knowing that they really determine your grade. So at the beginning was presentation, which we had memorized, we had the answers, and then they started asking questions that we didn't know. So a lot of it was like, oh wow, this is really happening right now. So a lot of the questions were answered. We have our research group, researching that for us right now.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You know what?
It was a great answer too.
Was it?
Yes.
We would ask questions. They'd be like, "Well, we're currently researching that right now." And I was
Yes.
like, oh,
Ah.
good job.
Yeah.
Please
How
stand
do I
by.
develop it?
No,
Yeah.
well, see, that's cool though, because,
Yes.
and I think that's really kind of why you came up with this idea, was kind of for them to actually get the real world feel. I know back in our day when we would go to school, they would kind of get you ready for it, but once you were actually like in the workplace or in that situation, you really didn't know how to handle it, because they didn't tell you, you may be asked a question that you don't know. How do you handle that?
Yes, and that's what I tell them. And as a teacher, we don't always know all the answers either,
Right.
which is shocking. I know my fellow teachers will not agree with me on that.
Right.
But I taught the students, deflect. If you don't know it, you're researching it or you're looking into it. And then also, they didn't know who the sharks were going to be until the day of.
Oh, okay.
So, used to, in previous semesters, I let them know who they're going to be. But this time I told them, no, you won't know anything about them until the day of. And then I read off the bios of everybody, so they had to think on their feet that day
Right.
and understand who these people were and how to get to those people on the level that they came from.
Right. And what's cool about this too is that all of a sudden now you got Pete with his mentality, and he's got his questions that he's already got, and the questions he's going to come up with, and it's nothing like, let's say it's us four in here. The questions that I'm going to have, or that I may want to know a little bit more about, may not be something that Pete's going to think of, and vice versa with Christina or Jennifer. So all of a sudden you get 4 questions from Pete, and then another 4 questions, and you really don't know. Like, what is one of the ones that just absolutely, that you just were not waiting for, and you just felt like, you were just floored by it?
One of the questions that I got was actually a psychology question.
Really?
She wanted to know what our mental state was and what how we came up with the product, and which is funny because the product came out really as a joke.
Right.
Christina came in and she's like, "This is what happened. I was out here and I experienced this," and so we're like, "Hey, let's take that and kind of put a different spin on it." And so we put a spin on it as a joke originally,
Right.
and then after a while we were like, "Wait, why can't we do this? Why can't we make it into an actual prototype that works?" And so we went out, and I think the sharks were actually impressed with this because we made a working prototype.
Right.
They weren't anticipating for it to actually, I guess, work. They were expecting, I guess, more like, since we're students, they're like, oh, this is just, they took a picture of things and put it on things to make it
Right.
look like it's real. But we had the Instagram, the Facebook, everything, and they were actually told
And
they
y'all
could,
had a QR code as well that actually worked.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
they.
y'all came prepared.
Yes.
yeah, we.
Yeah. And I think this happens, and you tell me, Pete, because you're an entrepreneur, you started your own business.
Mhm.
I know that this may have happened to you several times where you thought, I have this product,
Uh-huh.
I've got everything covered.
Right.
I've thought of everything there is to think of.
Uh-huh.
I got all my grounds, all my bases covered.
Yes.
And then reality slapped you in the face at some point.
Absolutely.
Right?
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah,
There are things, and the simplest things that caught me off guard.
right,
The easiest things, the things that I'm like, why didn't I remember that?
right, right.
I mean, really.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
and I felt like an idiot.
Yeah.
I have to pay what? Really?
Well, and I
Oh,
know.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah, so.
And I know that the students appreciated, I have to give a shout out to you
Uh-huh.
for you to come in and witness this.
Uh-huh.
Because, I mean, he had brought some more substance to the presentation because, I mean, this is what y'all do every day.
Uh-huh.
Y'all present every day to potential employers and investors and everything like that. So it gave our students that other side of it, of how to present and
Right.
what questions to ask.
Right.
And then also, there was some things that I believe that y'all kind of already knew, like how to answer that question, but you didn't answer that in your presentation and you waited for us to ask that, which I
Right.
thought was very
Yeah.
a smart
Yeah.
thing to do.
Cool. You know, that's really neat though, as far as it goes. I mean, what was it like, I guess, would you say that, I guess, just your experience at TSTC thus far, if you were actually placed in a real world scenario now, that you would actually feel you're a little more prepared for it than what you did before?
Yeah, especially, you know, being at TSTC, this is actually my senior year, so I'll be leaving soon and going out into the real world, but I feel that TSTC has really prepared us with what we need to actually be out in the real world. I have people who will see me at an event and I'm filming, and they're like, oh, that's, so who do you work for? And I'm like, I'm a student right now. They're like, you're a student? And they'll see the work afterwards, and they're like, you're a student and this is what you're producing. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm just a student right now. That's pretty much all I do is go to school every day, but this is what I'm majoring in, so,
Right.
you know. that
Well,
was the
and
thing.
also, Josh, you had recorded a video or recorded an event last January, correct?
Correct.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about
Last January, I volunteered with Dancing with the Stars for Hendrick Home for Children here in town,
Right.
and did all the bios for the dancers right before they went out. There was a presentation, like a minute, and it was just something to see, because afterwards people were coming up to me from different businesses, different dance companies, asking me, you know, oh, you record? Well, we'd love to have you come out. And even Susan King, our state representative, was out there, and she gave a shout out to me saying, you know, these were produced by a student at TSTC that's still attending.
That's awesome.
So
That's great.
doors
Yeah,
are opening
wonderful.
definitely
Yeah.
through TSTC for me.
That's awesome.
Wonderful.
And you can't really get, I mean, that's from an actual student who's actually been there.
Yes, and I did not pay him to say that.
Right, no. And he didn't know, we didn't talk about what we were gonna
No,
talk about when we came
absolutely.
on. We just got on the radio and I just figured, you know what, let me put him on the spot and ask him. But, you know, that's really neat though, because I have seen some people that have gone, I've seen some people that have gone to some of the, well, not necessarily a trade school, but some of these other schools that are established and
Sure.
get you ready for the workplace. And once you leave, you spent $20,000 and you've learned nothing.
Definitely. And I do have to give a shout out to our instructors, especially Christina, because she came from that industry.
Right.
So I mean, not only does she have the book knowledge, but she has the industry knowledge that she is giving to our students, and
Right.
that in itself is priceless.
Yeah.
And I mean, I talked to the group after Shark Tank, and I applauded all of them because it is tough to be a student and not be so passionate, be so ready to go into that field, but not know how to do that.
Yeah.
And especially to have this kind of project and presentation to kind of get you ready for that. So then that way, when you enter your last semester and when you do your internship and your projects and stuff for businesses, you already have a leg up on somebody because you have already done this.
Yeah.
So.
One of the things that we did, actually, going back to the Shark Tank, was we were unaware that the previous Shark Tanks before us, no one had received the full amount. So we were the actual first team that received the full amount from all Sharks, and that was just something that now we have bragging rights in the school. So
I will go off of that and say they are the first ones to ever receive an A
Oh, really?
For that
Yes.
project,
Wow.
yes. And I reviewed the video, and you can see me in the background, because when they did this, I told them, I gave them a pep talk that morning, and I told them I'd be sitting at the back of the room, and I wasn't going to help them, so it was sink or swim.
Yeah.
And
And you didn't say anything.
I didn't say
No.
anything,
Which is
which is
very
hard for me,
Very
right? Usually I'm like, no, you're doing this wrong. You need to do this better. But, and I did, and I looked at myself and I saw, I was smiling the whole time, and I thought, I really feel proud of these students, and I've told them that several times,
Right.
that they have really done a great job. Because I remember coming out of college, going into the industry and being asked questions, and I'm sure I had this look on my face like, oh wow, I was never prepared for this.
Yeah, right,
And so when I decided to teach and leave the industry to do that, I mean, I still work in the industry some. I do freelance work. But when I decided to teach, I thought I'm going to make sure my students do not run into the issues that I did right when I got into the real world. I mean, they're going to run into stuff.
Right.
But I hope that they are sitting there and think, Christina told us about this one time. How did she say to fix this
Right,
problem?
right.
So.
Right. And you know what's crazy is I had a friend of mine that graduated from, pretty much what we call broadcasting school, But the thing was, the college that they attended and went to and got their degree in and everything for broadcasting was fine, but they never actually put them in the real world setting at any point. So they were still had all this knowledge, but never actually got to use it and apply it to before going into it. So sometimes they would apply for a radio station and they come in and they would just be so lost it wouldn't last, and get to have a job here, have a job there, but
Sure.
get fired,
Yeah.
because they had this knowledge, but it wasn't all put together. There
Right.
wasn't a package. They just kind of had it there, and I think that's what's cool about TSTC, because I've had several friends. I know some people that have graduated from the culinary arts. I know some people
Yes.
that are now working on windmills
Yes.
next to TSTC. Some people that are working on oil rigs, but they said
Emergency medical.
Right, emergency
Yeah.
medical, stuff like that, and they're saying, if it wouldn't have been for TSTC and actually having some of that hands-on training and the real-world experience in some of the situations, then I wouldn't have been ready for the job.
Well, and even as simple as accounting.
Right.
I've lost count. I've had students come in my office that have a 4-year degree in accounting,
Wow.
and they don't know how to do it.
Really?
Literally,
Wow.
they've taught them the principles of it, but they do not know the practicality of it. And so we have come in, those students have come in, they've gone to our accounting program, and they know how to do payroll, they know how to do tax accounting, they know how to do accounts receivable and everything
Right.
like that. So I mean, having that book knowledge is great to have that, and if that is your career path, then that's great.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's some times that you need that hands-on touch, and that's what we do for our students.
Right.
Right.
That's
Makes
great.
a big difference. It
Yeah,
really does.
absolutely.
It really does.
Yeah. All right. So when you graduate, you'll have a degree officially in what degree is it going to be called?
My degree is digital media.
Digital media. All right. Cool. So does that include like graphic design and all like everything encompassed into one?
Yes, it's graphic design, it's website development, video production, photography,
Wow.
a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Well,
Very
That's
fun.
We need to hire this
Yeah,
guy. We need to hire this
Yeah.
guy here.
Well, and I have to say a little backstory, and Josh doesn't know that I'm gonna tell him that, or say this. But I remember the first day that you came in. He was working with one of our other admissions advisors, Shimmy's.
Right.
And at that time, we all shared an office. All of the advisors was all in the one big office. And I remember you being so nervous to come back to school, because you've done it before and you wasn't sure if this was the program that you wanted to go into, but you know that you needed to come back to school, and what am I going to do? And I remember you coming in probably about once a week just to check on things, and man, you've blown it out of the water. So I do definitely have to applaud you on that.
Thank you. Yeah. Going back on my first year, I was like, we
I
went
don't know if
to.
I can do this.
Well, Christina tore us down first. So a lot of times we went to the class and
Well,
she's
yeah,
like,
because they thought they were all that when they first came in. I was like, no. And I told them I was going to run it like the Army. I'm going to take you down, and then I'll bring you back up. And now they see that was a good thing.
Yeah.
Their first
Yeah.
semester, they kind of didn't like me too much.
Yeah.
I do have a reputation around the school for being one of the hardest teachers that they have.
Right.
But I think they respect me, and I respect them now. And now when they go out into the world, yeah, I'll stamp my name on them.
But you know what's cool about that though? Is that even though you're that type of tough teacher, they're going to run into that type of boss.
Definitely.
And
Yes.
a lot of times you'll work for some power hungry folks out there that are going to let you know that you work for me. don't
You're gonna be
forget.
like, oh, you're Christina.
Yeah.
And sometimes,
Okay.
and sometimes I got a mustache and a
Yeah.
purple tie.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, I'm the boss around these
Yeah,
parts.
and
Don't
that
get
you're
confused.
normal, you're regular people.
Right,
Yeah.
you know, so it happens, man. Good luck.
Yeah.
So, I'm just messing
She's
with
built us. She's built us up enough where now we take criticism with our artwork. You know, at first they would say, "Oh, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
These colors." And I remember the first time that happened to me, I was just like, "Oh man, I'm in the wrong program."
Did you ever just get something you were proud of it? You're like, oh man, this is the best thing I've ever done. And then Christina's like, this is wrong, that's wrong, blah blah
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. Has that happened to you?
Yeah, our first semester we actually, and it's funny because compared notes with some of my friends that go to other local universities here, and one of them, she graduated from one of the universities here, and she said, I'm graduating with 11 pieces in my portfolio. And I'm
Right.
like,
It's not a lie.
that's my freshman year of work already.
Yeah.
How are you graduating with just 11 pieces? And she's like, well, that's all we've done. And I was like, we've
Yeah.
gone like, that's my freshman year. So I was like, I don't know what to
I
tell
don't
you.
even know what to
I'm
say,
like,
yeah.
I don't even know what, you
But
know.
I mean, but seriously though, that constructive criticism, I'm sure after you went back and you realized and utilized the information and the critique, you came back with a better product, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I look back at my freshman work and I'm like, oh wow,
Yeah.
that's some scary looking work.
Yeah.
And
What am I doing?
Let's go back to freshman year for a minute, because I put them in a group right off the bat.
Okay.
And I remember several times Josh was in my office practically in tears,
Right.
and I would tell him, figure it out. I don't know why you're in here. Figure it out. I'm not your group mate. Go
Right.
take care of it. And so yeah, they're gonna run into that boss, but then I hope they say, well, you're nothing compared to Christina. We got this.
Right, right.
Yeah, but
No,
I mean
see-
that's the real world. Figure it out.
It really is. It really is, man. Because I've worked, and like I've said this before, and I was just messing with you, Pete. But me and Pete have both worked for this person before. And,
Oh, yes.
And man, trust me,
Oh.
it doesn't matter what you do. You can go over and beyond, and it's still not good enough, or they'll critique it somehow. So it's just kind of one of those things,
Yeah.
especially in radio.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, but that's one of the things though that I think is really neat though is the simple fact that you get that right off the bat and you learn how to deal with it before you get into the real world.
My boss used to call me when I was on the radio. You suck.
Wow.
I quit. No,
Yeah.
no, I didn't. I hung in there.
Yeah.
But here I am.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Look at where
Yeah,
you are now.
yeah. Like our
And
first
you
year.
still. Nevertheless, well, you know, that's cool, and of course, TSTC, it may be your avenue as well, too, and we've said this several times, you may be in a career already, and it's just not what you're wanting.
Definitely.
You realize, you know what, it's time for a change, I'm looking for something different. Hey, I've heard the windmills are really good, it's
Yep.
something that I may be interested in, but, I mean, if they're looking for other options, and and trying to continue on that education, or a lot of kids that are just barely getting out of school right now, this is their last year, they're seniors and whatnot, TSTC is definitely a
Yes.
great option, and how can they get a hold of you guys?
Yes, definitely. And on a side note, with the high school seniors, it is never too early to start.
Right.
You know, experiencing that college,
Mhm.
touring colleges, talking about financial aid. So you can definitely come and see us at 650 East. I'm sorry, 650 East Highway 80. We're just down the street from Town Crier, off of the Martin Luther King Bridge. You can always give us a call at 672-7091. We're on Facebook. We were talking about Facebook. I heard
Yeah.
y'all talking about Facebook. So don't do that when you're sleepy or when you just wake up.
Right.
But definitely check us out, TSTC West Texas, and you can see all the great pictures about our student life, and we give back to our community, and we definitely lift up our students as well. So yeah, definitely give us a call. We have 4 different locations, and we can get you started.
Sounds great. All right.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, Bob, time for us to get on out of here,
It
PTE.
is.
A couple of minutes in front of that 10 o'clock
Dun,
hour.
dun, dun.
And before we do get out of here, it's time to do it before we go. Our random facts. of the
5
day.
random
Yes.
facts.
Here we go. You're going to be a
I
little
look forward to
smarter,
these.
sometimes a little dumber, but nonetheless, you'll end up knowing 5 things you didn't know before this today.
That's
all right?
right.
Here we go. When Facebook first launched back in 2004,
Uh-huh.
you could only upload 1 photo. There was
Oh,
no
darn.
messaging, there was no notifications, no wall,
I'm
no
trying to
status
remember that
updates,
part.
any of that.
Was it
so-
04? Really? It's been out that long?
Yeah, 04 is when it came out.
Okay.
But see, the big thing back in that day wasn't Facebook; it was MySpace.
Yeah.
Oh,
we
yes.
were using what is it, My Bling and
Yeah.
Lord.
We're blinging it out. Pimp my space.
Hit MySpace, yeah. And then it took you go to your MySpace page and it take you 3 hours for your page to pull
Yeah.
up. and then it'd be playing another song that you didn't even upload.
Yeah.
To, and you'd be like, that's not the song I put on there.
Go back through, copy and paste the code, put it back in.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if you copy and
Wow.
pasted it wrong, then you had like your background look all messed up and
Yeah.
stuff. And you
Y'all
had
are
to-
old.
Yeah, then you have to call Josh to come and fix it. Because he graduated from PSCC.
Josh, do you even know what MySpace is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was like, yeah, isn't that how the internet was started?
Right. I do
Okay.
have to say, because I heard y'all's thing about the freshmen of high schools, they don't know about these kinds
Uh-huh.
of things. My 10-year-old daughter asked me what an answering machine was. She didn't know what that was.
Shut up.
Right.
And I was like, seriously, it's a little machine that when you call and you don't, you're not there, you leave a message and it's an answering machine. It has a little beep and it has a little tape and stuff. And she's like, yeah, I don't know what that is, Mama.
It's
What you
voicemail.
should have said is voicemail.
Voicemail,
It's
right, yeah.
But it was in a box. Voicemail in a box. You know, what me and you were remembering was whoever made remember when you used to call the 1-800 number and order the cassette for your answer machine? It had
Oh,
like,
yes.
sorry, we're not home, but leave a message on the telephone. You know, and you're like, what? Those old songs. Somebody made a killing off of that back in the day.
Yes,
now that's
he did.
obsolete.
Yes,
So,
he
you
did.
know, he's somewhere on his yacht watching somebody wash it right
Pretty
now.
much,
So,
yeah.
Number 2, I almost don't want to get into.
Uh-oh.
Is it radio friendly? Is it family
It
friendly?
is, it just kind of varies.
Oh,
It
Lord.
Well, here we go. The average white person's friends are 91% white. And the average black person's friends are 83% black. And the average Hispanic people, just like everybody, period. So,
It really says
we
that.
we call them our cousins. That's what we do. That's what we do. 'Cause
Primo.
everybody's a primo, you know? Automatically, it's like, oh, he's my cousin. And it's like, how? I think his grandma and my grandma used to go to M System together back in the
Yes,
day.
oh,
So
M
that makes
System.
them,
Wow,
that makes them
that's
our
old,
cousins.
yes.
Sure it wasn't TGNY?
Could have been.
TGNY,
It was
I
right
love
next to M
TGNY.
System.
Okay.
It was. So you
Alright.
could go to both, knock them out in one
Yeah,
stone.
pretty
man.
much.
53% of people changed their online banking password last year, which actually seems high, but since most banks force you to change it every once in a while, that number might actually be a little low. So,
Okay.
you know,
That's a good idea.
still to this day, I've never done my online banking at all.
you
Never.
really?
Still, I won't mess with it. I'm too scared.
He's paranoid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my mom doesn't. She
Really?
doesn't like that idea.
Yeah.
She'll
You bank
still write
online?
the
I do.
checks
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
does the balancing of the checkbook and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like,
You?
Yeah.
so,
The balance
anyway.
of the checkbook. Now we call that calling the automated system, and it says
Your balance is.
$453. Your available balance is $2.15.
Here's
It's
the
like-
last 5 transactions. Press 1.
Right.
Burger
Check
King,
number
$12.32. Boop. Grandy's, $5.32. Boop. Little Caesars, $5.25.
Sounds like the
Nothing but eating out.
sounds like the college student diet.
Yeah.
plan
Right,
there.
yes, pretty much.
Boop. McDonald's, $7.22. It's like, man, okay,
And
maybe
then
I need to not eat out.
Allsup's.
Yes.
Gasoline.
For
You
your
gotta have
tea.
$5 worth of
Yes.
gas to hold you over.
Oh, Lord.
HEB, $143.22.
Yep.
That was just gas.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty
you
much.
know.
Yeah.
All right, moving along. Let's see, number 4. The company that makes Swiss Army knives is Victorinox. They've been in business since 1884.
Wow.
And they've never laid off one single employee since they've been out in their entire time. Since 1884, never laid anybody
I'm in the
off.
wrong business. I need
Right.
to take it
I need to get into the Swiss Army knife business. Seems like there's a job security there.
Yeah, yeah.
And last but not least, one of my favorite movies of all times. A movie, The Christmas Story, is based on some short stories that were originally published in Playboy.
What?
That's where it comes from. Did you know that?
Shut up.
You didn't know that?
No.
Like you did.
I knew that just because I actually got the toy, the Christmas Story. They
Right.
had a...
Right.
I love that.
Don't do it.
No.
I want to know what kind of toy you got.
No. It's the Christmas Story. They released a box set. Well, not a box set, but they released a limited edition DVD set a couple of years ago, where you could buy the box and it had like an open up deal, and it kind of had like pictures from behind the set and a little history on it and stuff like that.
Okay.
And if you paid a little more, you could get the leg lamp too. You know what I'm
You
saying?
have the leg
So,
lamp.
I don't have the leg lamp. No.
Do you want the leg lamp?
I don't want the leg
Do
lamp.
you not?
No.
I
To
figured
me, I
that
think
you
it's a
would.
little tacky. You know what I'm
I
saying?
have a cousin.
Now, if it didn't have the tacky on it, maybe. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, no.
I have a cousin who uses that as his tree.
Oh, as his tree?
in the holiday season.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Nothing says family like the Lego.
Yeah.
You know? Christmas
Wow.
time is upon us. How do you know? Uncle Frank's got the Lego.
Listen, so he knows who I'm talking about.
Well, and I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
okay.
does he decorate it for every season
Well,
or
I
just
don't
the
know.
Christmas
From what I
season?
know, it just comes out at Christmas time.
Oh, okay.
Now, if he texts me before I get off the air, I'll tell you for sure. on that.
We should do it for every season.
Okay.
Every season.
Just have the leg up, yeah.
Yeah, leg up, get it?
Get a leg up on things.
Yeah.
We'll be here all
These
week.
are the jokes, people.
Yeah.
You drink minimum.
Thousands of comedians out of jobs, and me and Jennifer are telling jokes.
Right,
over here.
exactly. I think we should go on the road.
Nah, probably not. It's going to be more expensive. We got to try to make some money, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and then we're gonna have to park with the regular people, and
Yeah,
we can't do that.
They got
yeah.
like a certain smell to them, you know. So, wow.
Anyways,
I don't even know what to say.
Holly said that, I did not.
Let's go. Oh,
Yes.
let's go home now.
You leave now. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Stick a fork in us. We are done. Time
Yes.
for us to fly. I got to say, one of my coming next, the one and only Rose. You're going to be with you all the way till 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Yep.
It's an okay show, so you might want to stick around for that. But no, I'm just messing with you. She does a great
Nice.
job. Coming up at 1 o'clock, she's got the after lunch power hour. It's 1 full hour of requests and dedications, and it happens exclusively here on the Volts 93.3 FM. Give her a call at 701-7937, or hit her up on Facebook as well, and she'll get your request, dedication, shout outs, all that good stuff taken care of. All right.
All right.
We'll see you tomorrow, bright eyed and bushy tailed, 6 o'clock in the morning as we kick off the morning zoo once again. Have yourself a great day. Que Dios te bendiga y
Bueno, bye.
bye bye.
Superior Rodeo Family Night. It's gonna be
Quite entertaining.
Mark it on your
Here's your little video. There's your camera. Good.
That was a great show,
Oh.
guys.
Oh, the girls loved it. They were like,